when it's appropriate to start the meeting.
Okay.
Just let her know that she can, and then it's up to her when she's ready to start.
All right. It's easier to keep track of who's here whenever I can see everyone's picture. So that's, I'm going through there right now, making sure of who's here.
Christine, my video is not working, so I'm on audio for right
Okay.
now. Okay,
And
Deborah
that's
Frazier.
fine. Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. At least I can see your name is up on the screen.
Okay,
So that's a big help.
thanks.
Is Becky Mariner on the call?
I'm sorry, Chair Franklin, your audio, at least for me, was kind of cutting in and out. So I'm not sure what you asked.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, now it's fine.
Okay, is Becky Mariner on the call?
Yes, yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay, just want to make sure. And Christine, are we ready to go?
Let me do a quick look at who's here. Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, so I will now call this meeting to order. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic and related state of emergency, and as set forth in the Commission's Resolution 20-05-01 from the May 7, 2020 meeting, we are meeting remotely again this month. The public access is being provided by live streaming the meeting on PRTC's YouTube channel. This information was on PRTC's website, Facebook page, and at the Transit Center, as well as being advertised in Inside Nova and the Freelance Star. We will follow the same meeting process as before. Please state your name when speaking. I will introduce each item, then ask for a motion in a second. I will repeat the names of who made the motion in second. I will then ask each jurisdiction if there are any comments or questions from their representatives on the item. I will then ask Christine Rodrigo to take the vote by roll call. Commissioners who need to leave the meeting should verbally advise me prior to leaving, so the time can be reflected in the meeting minutes. And with that, we'll go to the invocation and pledge of allegiance. If everyone can just bow. Lord, thank you for bringing us to this moment once again. We ask that you just give us the mindset to not only work collaboratively, but to make decisions that are for the betterment of our community. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. We'll now stand for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Christine, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Victor Angry, Andrea Bailey,
Present.
Kenny Bodie, Margaret Franklin,
Present.
Janine Lawson,
I'm here.
Yesley Vega,
Present.
Ann Wheeler,
Present.
Pete Canland, Maggie Hansford, Penny Smith.
Here.
We have currently two of our commissioners who are missing, Victor Angry and Kenny Bodie. So serving as voting members right now are Ann Wheeler and Benny Smith. If and when Mr. Bodie joins us, then we'll leave Ann Wheeler as the voting member, and Mr. Smith will be back to a non-voting alternate. From Stafford County, Tanisha Allen, Cindy Shelton,
Here.
Meg Bumke, Gary Snellings. From the City of Manassas, Pam Sebeski,
Here.
Ralph Smith. From the City of Manassas Park, Jeanette Rischel.
Here.
Preston Banks, Hector Sendejas, Donald Shoemaker. From the City of Fredericksburg, Matt Kelly, Jason Graham. From Spotsylvania County, Deborah Frazier,
Here.
Gary Skinner,
Here.
Tim McLaughlin, David Ross. From DRPT, Jennifer Mitchell, Jennifer DeBrule, Todd Horsley,
Here.
Steve Pittard. From the House of Delegates, Lee Carter, Elizabeth Guzman.
I'm here.
And from the Senate, Virginia Senate, George Barker. Madam Chair, we do have a quorum.
Okay, we'll move into item 4, approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to
So
to
moved.
approve Gary Skinner.
Second, Pam
Supervisor
Sebeski.
Bailey.
Okay, there was a motion by Mr. Skinner, seconded by Vice Chair Sebeski. Is there any discussion? Prince William County? Stafford County?
None.
Manassas City?
None.
Manassas Park? Fredericksburg? Spotsylvania?
None.
None.
DRPT?
No.
Our House of Delegates? Or the Virginia Senate?
No.
Christine, will you please call the roll?
Andrea Bailey,
Yay.
Margaret Franklin,
Yes.
Janine Lawson,
Yes.
Yesley Vega,
Yes.
Ann Wheeler,
Yes.
Benny Smith,
Yes.
Cindy Shelton,
Yes.
Pam Sebeski,
Yes.
Jeanette Rischel,
Yes.
Deborah Frazier,
Yes.
Gary Skinner,
Yes.
Todd Horsley,
Yes.
Elizabeth Guzman.
Yes.
Madam Chair, that resolution's approved.
We'll now move into item 5, approval of the minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved, Jeanette Rischel.
Is there a second?
Second, Supervisor Bailey.
A motion made by Mayor Rischel, seconded by Supervisor Bailey. Are there comments or questions? Prince William County,
None.
Stafford County, City of
None.
Manassas,
None.
Manassas Park,
None.
Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania,
None.
DRPT,
No.
House of Delegates, and the Virginia Senate.
Yes.
Christine, will you call the roll?
Yes, I've been informed that Supervisor Bodie is now in the meeting.
Yep.
So we will move alternate Commissioner Mr. Smith back to being a non-voting alternate. So calling the question on the minutes, Andrea Bailey, Margaret Franklin,
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Janine
Aye. I'm
Lawson,
sorry. Aye.
Okay, Janine Lawson,
Abstain?
Yesli Vega,
Yes.
Ann Wheeler,
Abstain?
and I think I went right past Mr. Bodie,
Aye.
Cindy Shelton,
Aye.
Pam Sabeski,
Aye.
Jeanette Rischel,
Yes.
Deborah Frazier,
Aye.
Gary Skinner,
Aye.
Todd Horsley,
Yes.
and Elizabeth Guzman.
Yes.
Madam Chair, that resolution is approved.
We'll now move into item 6 for a CEO report from the Virginia Railway Express.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, commissioners and others. As you may know, for the past several months, we have developed and implemented health and safety measures to welcome the return of our riders to VRE. We continue to enhance those measures and monitor our peers in the region and nationally for best practices and opportunities for improvement. We continue to push daily messaging through social media, direct communications with our riders, and other means to highlight the measures we have taken and provide our riders with information they seek to bring them back to VRE. And just as a reminder, passengers are still required to wear face coverings while on board VRE trains and at our stations, and we currently continue to see near 100% daily compliance. Our train conductors do have face coverings available on board every VRE train in the event our riders need one. During the week of September 21st, VRE participated in a nationwide effort to promote rail safety. In addition to sharing safety messages via social media and other platforms, VRE arranged to have temporary solar-powered message boards installed at 7 crossings along the Fredericksburg and Manassas lines. The message boards displayed succinct safety messages throughout the week. I just want to say I appreciate the collaboration with our partners throughout our service area that helped make this happen. And as you know, safety has always been and remains VRE's priority. VRE continues to operate at a reduced service level. For the month of September, we saw ridership steadily increase to over 1,300 average daily riders per day. Our on-time performance for the month of September was 95.5% system-wide. VRE staff continues to work remotely. All business functions are fully operational as we continue to maintain a continuity of operations. As we welcome back our riders, I want to again thank our staff, our onboard train crews, and others for all their efforts towards planning and executing the additional health and safety measures. And then finally, just always want to thank our loyal riders who too have endured this unprecedented time with us, and look forward to seeing many of you back on VRE trains soon. That's the end of my report, Madam Chair.
Okay, are there any questions from Prince William County?
None.
For Mr. Dalton?
None.
Stafford County?
None.
I can't understand you, Margaret.
Madam Chair, you cannot be understood.
Manassas Park?
That's better.
Manassas.
I forgot what the question was. I'm sorry.
I have a question.
Spotsylvania.
Manassas City.
Virginia Senate.
Manassas City has a question.
I'm sorry, Chair Franklin, we can't hear you.
I think you've frozen up, Madam Chair.
I'll message her.
Okay. And I see that there's an action item in 6.2.
Madam
Can y'all hear
Chair,
me okay now?
yeah, I can hear you okay now. I believe Manassas City had a question.
Yes, I do.
I think Madam Chair froze again.
Can you guys hear me? Yes, Ms. Sebeski?
Yes, thank you. Real quick, thank you for the update. I was just wondering, I know that for some people, that
Can you all
normally,
hear me?
yes. That for some people, that
Can
ride, can I be heard?
Yes, we can hear you, Vice Chair Sabeski, but it seems like we're hearing audio from the chair that was recorded a while ago. Commissioner Bailey has suggested that Chair Franklin maybe leave the meeting and then come back because that might solve the problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I've just communicated with the
Before
chair.
we move on,
Vice Mayor.
if I freeze, Vice Chair.
Okay, Ms. Sebeski, the chair messaged me and asked
Feel free
you to run the
Yes.
meeting,
jump in.
and she'll log out and log back in.
Please.
Okay. So, if I might, I'm gonna, ask the question about, that I'd like to the, to VRE, to Mr. Dalton. Is he still with us?
Yeah. Yes, Ms.
Okay.
Sebeski, I'm here.
Great, thank
Can
you.
you hear me
So
okay?
I can hear you fine, thank you. My question is that, I know that we have been on a nest schedule for a while for a lot of reasons. As we are starting to see some ridership increase, I know some people cannot ride because of the S schedule. Is there any thought as to when you might return to a more regular schedule?
Good question, Ms. Sebeski. I don't have anything definitive. What we're doing is we are, we're taking somewhat of a measured approach. What we don't want to do is add additional trains and not have any ridership at all. So what we've been doing with our at our reduced level of service, we've just been watching that ridership and just to, and we're managing social distancing on board our trains, which minimizes the number of passengers, of course, that we can have on a per train car basis. And as that ridership starts to tick back up, we've been looking at on particular trains where the ridership appears potentially a little heavier. And then we'll add, our plan is to just simply add round trip trains back one at a time. So I don't have a specific date or time for you, particularly on the Manassas line. We are starting to see an uptick in ridership, so it's likely that adding another round trip train is something that's in the near future. On the Fredericksburg line, we did note back in the summer, in late July, that we were seeing some of those trains. So we did go ahead and add a round trip train back on the Fredericksburg line, but we have not yet on the Manassas line. So.
Great, thank you very much. Just as some people are starting to ask some of that, it's helpful to know. So thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're asking us as well, and we're basically giving them about this, that same information that I just shared with you.
Okay. So I am going to try to figure out where we are in the meeting on the notes that were sent to me. Maybe Christine, maybe you can let me know where we're at.
Sure, we would be at 6.2, which is an action item for VRE.
Okay, let me try to find that. Oh, Margaret's back, so I'll let Margaret see if she can manage, and I can see if I can on my another device find the agenda. So Margaret, I'll defer to you.
Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Much-
Yes, you seem to be coming in loud and clear now.
Okay, my apologies for that. And thank you, Vice Chair Sabeski, for taking over. I appreciate that. I heard we were on 6.2.
That's correct.
Okay, Rich, have you presented on that already?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, please proceed.
Thank you. 6.2, we're seeking authorization from the commissions to refer the VRE's preliminary FY 2022 operating and capital budget to the jurisdictions. And I'll give a brief summary of what that submittal is and what our preliminary budget looks like. So essentially, our FY 2022, again, preliminary budget, or operating budget, totals $91.9 million, which includes operations, maintenance, and existing debt service. And just in comparison, the FY 2021 budget, or the budget that we're in right now, is approximately $91.4 million. As a staff, we are continuing to review departmental budgets, projected expenditures, and all other elements on the expenditure side of that operating budget for any further reductions, and frankly, to make sure that we haven't missed anything as well. And that's part of our standard process at this point in the budget process. In light of the ongoing economic challenges from the COVID-19 pandemic, the preliminary operating budget includes no changes to passenger fares and no increase to jurisdictional subsidy. Staff has also proposed the jurisdictional subsidy allocation be the same as the current year, or the current FY 2021 budget year. So the budget that we're in now, what we're proposing in lieu of trying to do a master agreement survey, essentially stay with the allocation that's in the current FY 2021 budget. So before the application of any available emergency funding, the preliminary operating budget has a net unfunded amount of $25.7 million. VRE's Federal CARES Act funding will be available to backfill lost revenue, passenger revenue or fare revenue, and ensure that no additional jurisdiction contribution is required. VRE's preliminary FY 2022 capital budget includes commitments of $101.8 million from federal, state, regional, and local funding sources towards the Capital Improvement Program, or CIP. VRE CIP is undergoing substantial revisions as a result of the Transforming Rail in Virginia program being pursued by the Commonwealth, and the scopes, funding sources, and timeliness of many projects are being modified in coordination with the Department of Rail and Public Transportation. We will continue to work with jurisdictional staff members and update the operations board as the budget process continues. A final FY 2022 budget will be submitted in December for the operations board's consideration and referral to the commissions for final approval. And just another note, the final FY 2022 budget, which will also include an amended FY 2021 budget, will ensure VRE can continue to provide safe and reliable commuter rail service as Virginians return to work, while equitably and strategically sharing the costs of the service across riders, local jurisdictions, and the available federal CARES Act funds. That is my summary, Madam Chair.
Are there any questions, or is there a motion first of all?
Motion to approve, Gary Skinner.
Motion by Mr. Skinner. Is there a second?
Second, Supervisor Bailey.
Seconded by Supervisor Bailey. Is there any discussion from Prince William County?
None.
Stafford County?
None.
City of Manassas?
None.
Manassas Park?
None.
Fredericksburg? Pennsylvania?
None.
None.
DRPT?
No.
House of Delegates?
No.
And Senator Barker? Christine, will you please call the roll?
Yes, and I understand that Matt Kelly has joined us, so as I call roll, I will be including him on the question. Andrea Bailey,
Yes.
Kenny Bodie,
Aye.
Margaret Franklin,
Aye.
Janine Lawson,
Aye.
Yesli Vega,
Aye.
Ann Wheeler,
Aye.
Cindy Shelton,
Aye.
Pam Sabeski,
Aye.
Jeanette Rischel,
Yes.
Matt Kelly, Matt Kelly,
Aye.
Deborah Frazier,
Aye.
Gary Skinner,
Aye.
Todd Horsley,
Yes.
and Elizabeth Guzman.
Yes.
Madam Chair, that resolution is approved.
Okay, we'll now move into item 7, public comment time. Christina, are there any public comments?
No, Madam Chair, no public comments were received for this meeting.
Okay, we'll now move into item 8, the consent agenda, which is the acceptance of the Rappahannock Transportation Commission monthly jurisdictional report that we do monthly. For 8.1, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So
So moved,
Supervisor
Pam
Bailey.
Sabeski.
Second, Kenny Bodie.
Moved by Vice Chair Sabeski and seconded by Supervisor Bodie. Are there any questions or discussions from Prince William County,
None.
City of Manassas,
None.
Manassas Park,
None.
Fredericksburg,
None.
Spotsylvania,
None.
None.
DRPT,
No.
House of Delegates, and Senator Barker.
No.
Christina, will you please call the roll?
Andrea Bailey,
Aye.
Kenny Bodie,
Aye.
Margaret Franklin,
Aye.
Janine Lawson,
Aye.
Yesli Vega,
Aye.
Ann Wheeler,
Aye.
Cindy Shelton,
Aye.
Pam Sabeski,
Aye.
Jeanette Rischel,
Yes.
Matt Kelly,
Aye.
Deborah Frazier,
Aye.
Gary Skinner,
Aye.
Todd Horsley,
Yes.
Elizabeth Guzman.
Yes.
Madam Chair, that resolution is approved.
Okay, and for item 8.2, acceptance of the jurisdictional report, is there a motion?
So move Supervisor Bailey.
Madam Chair, that is part
Part of
that
the
is
consent.
consent
Okay,
agenda.
we're good. Okay, perfect. Thank you. And now we'll move into item 9, presentations and information. I believe we have an update from on the Commuter Choice Program. And there are a couple of items on here. And so if we can be as efficient as possible with the presentation for purposes of time, that will be helpful. But Ben, I'll turn it over to you.
Great, thank you. I will gladly be efficient. I am doing double commission duty along with Rich this evening, so I'll try to talk fast. Happy to be with you again to talk about a couple topics in relation to commuter choice on the 395-95 corridor. Next slide, please. Before we get into the substance, just a quick recap of the commuter choice background that we touched on in July. Our commissions have joint approval authority over commuter choice on the I-395-95 corridor, which reinvests a portion of 95 and 395 express lanes toll revenues into multimodal transportation improvements that benefit toll payers and support corridor goals of maximizing person throughput and fostering effective, viable options for commuters. My team at NVTC handles the day-to-day management of the program per MOA between our commissions, allowing PRTC for your opportunity to be a funding recipient. We have a call for projects every other year, typically about $30 million available for a 2-year period. I'll talk more about revenue for the upcoming round 2 program toward the end of my presentation. Next slide, please. And one other recap, the 395-95 corridor stretches all the way from Spotsylvania County up to the DC line. NVTC and PRTC member jurisdictions, as well as transit agencies serving the area, are eligible applicants. Next slide, please. So the first item on the agenda tonight is a request to authorize us at NVTC to transmit the Commuter Choice 2020 annual report to the Commonwealth Transportation Board. And we're asking specifically in relation to the 395-95 corridor program. So our MOA with the Commonwealth that governs the program requires us to submit a joint report to the CTB each fall on the program. We as NVTC staff took the lead in developing a single report that covers both the 395-95 and I-66 corridors. So you have the report among your handouts for this evening, and I will quickly go through the highlights. Next slide, please. So since the 395-95 corridor program just came into being last year, this year's is the first report covering both commuter choice corridors. The report addresses the projects selected for funding in the last fiscal year and their anticipated benefits as required by the MOAs. It also includes a look back on the actual performance of projects we've funded. We needed to do that this year, starting this year for the I-66 corridor program, and decided to do it for 395 and 95 as well, since we have good data on most of the projects that we've funded. I will note that most of this data was collected prior to the public health emergency for sake of presenting a representative picture of travel in the 2 corridors. We do note in the report that next year's report may present a significantly different picture based on next year's data. Next slide, please. So I'll start with a few of the key lessons we've learned. You'll see these addressed also in a few policy proposals that I'll review with you shortly. First of all, we intend to work more closely with applicants to help foster a diverse set of competitive project proposals. Almost 90% of our total investment to date has been in new and enhanced bus service projects, including related capital expenses. These have been very successful on the whole, and they'll remain a staple of the program. But especially in these times where transit demand is somewhat depressed, we want to encourage applicants to think broadly about strategies that could have long-term benefits for commuters as well. Second point is that we need to ensure that projects we support deliver measurable and rapid benefits to toll payers. This is a challenge, particularly for transportation demand management projects. These are, in general, long-term incremental campaigns to change commuters' travel behavior. So we'll work with our existing recipients to identify available sources of data, but also seek to limit our future support for TDM projects to strategies that have clearly measurable outcomes. And finally, we've been encouraging our recipients to think regionally by incentivizing it in the scoring process. Going forward, we also plan to require support documentation where a third party would be significantly involved. So for instance, if a jurisdiction were to apply for a bus service, that they would expect you as OmniRide to operate. Next slide, please. Here are the main highlights from the 5-year look back. We had good data for transit services, as well as strategies to improve non-motorized access to transit stops and stations. That's what access to transit refers to. So we focused on those for this year. Overall, these types of projects were doing very well relative to their throughput goals prior to the public health emergency. I'll note that in the report, we highlight your Stafford Borough to Pentagon route as a success story, as ridership early this year was almost twice the goal at the time that the application was submitted. We will shortly be releasing a technical memo that explains how we reach these figures, including each service's ridership relative to its target. Next slide, please. Another thing that's highlighted in the report, we will be doing traffic and transit ridership counts in each corridor, in both corridors, every other year going forward. So shown here is a comparison of 2015 counts and 2019 counts, so before and after tolling and commuter choice for the I-66 corridor. We have baseline data from 2019 for 395 at this point, prior to the express lanes beginning operation. So we will include this type of comparison for 395 as well in the future. I'll just note here that OmniRide services have been a part of our success to date in the I-66 corridor in creating more travel options for commuters. So the Gainesville to Pentagon commuter route is one that we tout often as a success story. This was a new service started back in 2016. It was up to about 600 daily trips. As of early this year, probably some of which were previously made by driving instead. Next slide, please. A key finding also from I-66 is that also in terms of absolute numbers, both rail and commuter bus ridership have grown, suggesting that they're serving complementary purposes to each other rather than competing for the same base of riders. Next slide, please. In terms of current projects, we have a bit of information on those in the report. Good geographic spread in terms of what we funded so far, stretching as far south as Stafford County. Between the two corridors, a total of 36 funded projects totaling roughly $60 million investment. For 395 alone, it's been 10 projects and $19 million so far. I will just note here too that during our upcoming call for projects, we'll be engaging with applicants along the full length of the 395-95 corridor to identify strong project proposals that advance the program's goals. Next slide, please. We do include a full list of the projects in the report with kind of summary information as well as highlights of a few of them. Next slide, please. And besides the printed report, we'll have a website that should be live later this month with more detailed information on all of the projects we funded, including what they are and what the status of them is. So I'll stop here for any questions before the action on the annual report.
I'll just ask a preliminary question. Will any of the projects be impacted by where we are with COVID?
Yeah, so a lot of the data we collected, we usually ask people to collect data in March and April. And for this year, we asked people to collect data from early March where possible before COVID really hit. So what's presented in this year's report is something of a more or less pre-COVID snapshot. I think next year we will probably see whatever sort of ongoing implications there are a bit more clearly. But we are being clear that, we anticipate that may happen. And I think our Commonwealth partners are understanding of that as well.
Okay, in order to take the rest of the questions, is there a motion to move into this item?
So move, Pam Sebesky.
Second, Kenny Bodie.
Moved by Vice Chair Sebesky, seconded by Supervisor Bodie. Is there a discussion from Prince William County?
Madam Chair.
Supervisor Lawson?
Thank you. Ben, can you send us a soft copy of the presentation?
Yes, I would be glad to.
Thank you.
Any other questions from Prince William County? Any questions from the city of Manassas?
No questions.
Manassas Park?
None.
Fredericksburg?
No questions.
Spotsylvania?
No questions.
DRPT?
No questions.
House of Delegates?
Nope.
Virginia Senate? Christine, will you please call the roll?
Andrea Bailey,
Yes.
Kenny Bodie,
Aye.
Margaret Franklin,
Aye.
Janine Lawson,
Aye.
Yesley Vega,
Aye.
Ann Wheeler,
Aye.
Cindy Shelton,
Aye.
Pam Sebesky,
Aye.
Jeanette Rischel,
Yes.
Matthew Kelly,
Aye.
Deborah Frazier,
Aye.
Gary Skinner,
Aye.
Todd Horsley,
Yes.
and Elizabeth Guzman.
Yes.
Madam Chair, that resolution is approved.
Okay, thank you, Ben. We appreciate it.
Great.
We'll now move into item 10, Executive Director's Time, and we'll turn it over to Dr. Schneider.
Thank you very much. So one of my favorite things I get to do every year is our graduation of our mentoring class. This year's group is M3. It's the name that they identified. And I brought the mentoring program with me when I came to OmniRide because it's a great way for employees to connect with each other in a different way. The subordinate supervisor role or friendships, et cetera, those all exist in the organization. But what's distinct about a mentoring relationship, the mentor-mentee, is it's a way for two employees to connect who might typically not do so. Sometimes our director is being mentored by a staff member who has been in the organization for 5 years but works in our customer service department. What that does is that allows a director to understand, for example, what is the organization? What does it do? And our first mentoring class was really focused on employees who came in new roles. So each time an employee takes on a new role, they come into the mentoring program and they have that experience. And it's been wildly successful from the standpoint of developing the trust relationships and the patient's relationships. And more than anything, what it does, it creates a conduit for employees to communicate with each other and grow and understand each other and understand the organization. And it's something of tremendous pride. The first time through, I was one of the, there's mentees, there's mentors, and there's coaches. And the coaches are the ones who structure the program so the mentors and mentees can get involved. I have been hands-off for about the last 18 months, and 2 employees have taken lead on this. And one of those is Holly Morello. She could not join us tonight because she is graduating from Leadership Prince William. So congratulations to her. But the other person that is essential to this is Cynthia Porter Johnson, who has been very, very passionate about this and has really been an instrumental part of keeping the program going. Surprisingly, through the COVID-19 era, it caught a lot of people off guard, how to respond, what to do. And I'm just unbelievably impressed by the fact that they were able to keep the program active and make some of the differences and changes. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn it over to Cynthia to talk about the program. And we've invited a mentor and a mentee to talk to you for just a minute or two to describe what they get out of it. And then we'll just go through the mentees and just congratulate them in a list. So from here, I'll turn it over to Cynthia.
Thank you, Bob. Good evening, Madam Chair Franklin and members of the board. Again, as Bob said, my name is Cynthia Porter Johnson, and I'm a project manager here at OmniRide. It's an honor for me to speak with you this evening about the OmniRide's mentoring program. As Bob mentioned, I was a mentor in the inaugural class of the mentoring program, which began in October of 2018. And I'm happy to share that it was such a rewarding experience for me. It was so rewarding that I decided to be a coach the following year. And after 3 mentoring classes, I remain in this capacity because I have witnessed firsthand the benefits of the mentoring program, as well as the impacts that it has had on our employee relationships, as well as OmniRide's relationship with our community. We're definitely thankful that Bob thought to implement this program at OmniRide. I just want to share that since its inception, we've had 36 actually, OmniRide employees and 6 First Transit employees that have completed the mentoring program. It's modeled, again, as Bob indicated, on the simple idea of developing OmniRide employees as a team of positive, constructive leaders while also building a culture of mutual support and respect for one another. And that has definitely happened in this program. Those who have participated in the program have been able to take field trips to places such as GMU Science and Technology Campus, the opportunity to fellowship with one another through team building exercises and events, such as panel forums and focused leadership and career development in the transportation industry. Several of these events were also opened up to the entire OmniRide staff. I would love to share with you that one of the main highlights of the mentoring program is definitely the Mentee Team Project, which must focus on what the team can do to make OmniRide a better place to work or our community a better place to live. There is a $500 budget that is provided by OmniRide for the team to use towards the project. The mentoring projects have also helped in bringing the mentoring teams together and have allowed them to give back to Prince William community. So on last year, the mentoring team collected and donated school supplies that were much needed for children. This year's mentoring team decided to provide donations to the homeless shelter, which is currently housed in the Ferlazzo building. So just this past Monday, several items such as sanitizer, canned goods, socks, toiletry kits for men and women, and more than 500 face masks were donated to the homeless shelter. So we're very thankful to the entire mentoring team, specifically to Mrs. Latricia Benson, who helped to purchase some of the items, and then she also coordinated the delivery of it. So the mentoring team, we're looking forward to partnering with the shelter so that we can continue to be of support to them, as well as their clients. Holly and I are also looking forward to the start of the M4 class. We have several new employees here at PRTC, including our new contractor, Keolis, who will be participating in the program. It'll definitely be mostly virtual, but we are already coming up with creative ways to implement the program and also events. So tonight, we're just so excited for the M3 mentees that are graduating. We know their class was cut short by COVID-19. However, we are very proud of what they have been able to accomplish, and we're pleased to have them and many of the mentors here with us tonight. So now I'm going to turn it over to one of our mentors, Mr. Kenny Tuitt. He's PRTC's Manager of Quality Assurance and Special Projects, and his mentee, Ms. Teresa Garber of First Transit. They're going to share their experiences of being part of the M3 mentoring class. So thank you again for allowing me the time to share about this great program with all of you. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Cynthia. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. Mentoring is defined as a supportive learning relationship between a caring individual who shares knowledge, experience, and wisdom with another individual to enrich their professional and sometimes their personal life. During my time here at PRTC, I've been surrounded by people who perform those acts daily. They live by those words without giving it a second thought. When the program started, I couldn't wait to be a mentee. And when I received the call that I was going to be a mentee, I was very excited. The mentee mentor gatherings were fun. You were able to learn so much about so many people you work with. The icebreakers were great. I really wanted to thank Mr. Snyder for bringing this program to life and choosing two great coaches to run the program, Ms. Cynthia Porter and Ms. Holly Morello. I want to thank you all. You guys have always been there. Anytime I needed to reach out, it wasn't a problem. Other members in the organization was easy to talk to if I ever had an issue or needed guidance. Bob, those two took it and they ran with it and they excelled. What I enjoyed most about the program was the opportunity to share, learn, and grow. Again, thank you for letting me be a part of the team. I think Ms. Garber is next to speak.
Ms. Garber, I believe you're muted. There you go.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Teresa Harris Garber, and I am a mentee in the program. I was approached by Cynthia Porter Johnson about being a mentee in the program, and she explained some of the programs that they were doing, experiments, and I agreed to do it, and I'm glad I did. My observation is that the mentoring program was designed to bring OmniRide employees and First Transit employees together as a team. After all, we are working together to make OmniRide an exceptional organization. I learned a lot with my group, Latricia Benson, Tracy Jurek, Charles Kent. My mentor, Kenneth Tuitt, is an extraordinary person. He and I touch base at least once a week, whether it was him coming to the office to see how I was doing, or via email, a telephone call, and I really appreciate it. And Cynthia and Holly are phenomenal mentoring coaches. Thank you.
Well, thank you all. I appreciate the fact that we're doing this program. Obviously, as we talk about changing the culture and moving forward. It's initiatives like this that help us reach that goal. So Ms. Johnson, thank you so much. And to all of our mentees, we really appreciate your work and your efforts.
Yeah, so normally we have a nice little graduation ceremony, but we're going to do this virtually. As you can see on the screen, Latricia Benson, who works in our quality assurance department, Teresa Garber in the operations group, Tracy Jurek, who's in the accounting department. Next batch pictures. Oh, I guess Charles Kent is up there. Maybe my grid of pictures, smiling faces was blocking Charles. Latricia's been with us for about, I think she celebrated her 5 years recently. Charles has been with us right around a year. So it's not just employees who are new to the organization, but it might be new in their roles. And the idea is we want all employees to experience this process of relationship building, growth, and development. The mentors for this year's class were Doris Lookabill, Joy Himes, Kenny Tuitt, Michael Williams, and Tracy Brentley. So not only do we have First Transit employees participating as a mentee, we had First Transit employees participating as a mentor. And one of the nicest people I've ever met, one of my favorite employees, Michael Williams, he's the awesome guy at the front desk. He served as a mentor. So again, it's about bringing all levels of the organization together, frontline, accounting, quality assurance, graphic design, years of service ranging from 15 years of service to less than a year, all coming together. So please give your virtual Zoom applause and congratulate them for their hard work. Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on. So a couple items, 10.2 follow-up from previous meetings. I apologize for not starting my video screen again. Follow-up from previous meetings. Mayor Rischel had asked the question of when ridership will resume to its normal levels. We anticipate about April. Initially, we thought sometime around February, but the ridership trend is not tracking as quickly as we had hoped. We thought we'd see more growth after Labor Day, and we have not. So what that refers back to is re-triggering the pilot phase of the Western service remapping and redevelopment that we did and implemented. And so that's just a timeline for that. And then going through the remainder of the report, if you recall, there was a passenger rail authority, and I had forwarded the list of nominees. And from the Prince William area, the 3 individuals that were appointed by the governor's office included Paul F. Nichols of Woodbridge, principal with Nichols Zazij, and then Cynthia Moses Nett of Prince William County, currently the Chief of Staff, Office of Wildland Fire of the United States Department of the Interior, and Rod Hall of Woodbridge. He's a government affairs advisor with K&L Gates. Rod was in my leadership Prince William class. Outstanding person, someone that I really look to, and I'm excited for the opportunity to get to work with him in a different capacity related to transportation. Other members and names you may recognize: Sharon Bulova, Jay Fassett. So those are just a handful of names that you might recognize. I'll be certain that gets sent out in the post-board meeting update so you can see all the names, and we'll share that information accordingly. Legislative update. We were more optimistic in terms of there would be some legislation to pass. As you do know, there was a continuing resolution passed by the federal government through at least December as it relates to the not having a government shutdown. So we have that moving forward for us. We were very hopeful there would be some kind of CARES package. As you have seen and as you have heard, there has not been movement out at the federal level. It seems to be sitting still until post-election day. So possibly sometime in November, December, depending on when the sessions start and end. We are not unique in the situation regarding transit concerns. You may or may have not heard. WMATA is looking at about a $212 million budget gap with about 1,700 affected employees. So that is something that is just worth paying close attention to. We're doing our own fiscal due diligence. We just closed up. We're closing up our audit in the next week and change. So we'll have very concrete numbers and we'll be able to get a better sense of that. But we are watching. We're active with the American Public Transportation Association, which is before Congress frequently, letting them know of the impacts. Just an example, LA County has a $1.2 billion reduction package. So just for comparison, it's not a DC thing, it's nationwide in terms of hitting mass transit, VRE, et cetera. A COVID-19 update, we continue to tackle issues related to the mitigating spread, sanitization. We are now in the process. We've been able to begin the process of implementing temperature checks. So we're doing that. It's a little trickier because of our span of service. The two different organizations, we've learned a lot from HIPAA rules, and we're moving forward with that. So that's very positive there. And we continue to work with all of our peers. Again, the American Public Transportation Association has provided white papers. We still get CDC guidance, and we still get feedback from the Prince William Health Department. Prince William Emergency Services Group is reactivating its continuity of operations plan. So we'll be working with them in the near term. A very positive thing that comes from that is our relationship with all of the regional partners and our focus on security. It's always wonderful to announce, winning an award, and we were able to receive our Gold Standard Award on Friday from the Transportation Security Administration. They brought 4 or 5 of their staff down. Special thanks to the supervisors, Franklin, Bailey, Supervisor Angry, who presented us with a commendation. Thank you very much for that. In addition to Vice Mayor Sebeski, I think I remembered everyone, but it was a great event. It was the first time we've really gathered outside the staff to come together and cheer and celebrate. And we had some pins that we'll be sure to share with all of our commissioners, but it was wonderful to come together and cheer something exciting. Our Western facility update, we have received our occupancy permit. So that doesn't mean that immediately we can move in. That just simply means it's the process of transfer where the construction agency, which was Clark Construction, can then finalize their handover of the facility to us. Of course, now we have to go through our own processes about fitting our safety plan. We have to prepare that. And we had originally planned to launch services out of there in February. It's more likely we're going to be looking to do that in April, simply because we want to be able to track the ridership that will trend with that. One other item to note is, as we move forward with our next service update in November, we're going to be temporarily suspending 3 very, very low performing routes. And these are our Lake Ridge to Mark Center, as well as our Dale City to Mark Center, and then our Woodbridge to Tyson's Corner. This is a temporary suspension of operations, just at least through the end of the year. The ridership numbers are in single digits per day across 4 trips, and that's bi-directional. So we're talking between 2 to 4 people per day for services. So that'll assist us on the budget standpoint. We're not going to let those customers high and dry at all. Instead, we've identified alternates with the Mark Center service. There's redundant service that can ride our routes to the Pentagon, and then high frequency service provided by Metro from Pentagon to the Mark Center location. And we're also going to reach out to those customers regarding van pools to see what options those are. So we'll be in communication with those customers throughout the month of October to prepare them. And then we'll be able to provide some services for them out of the Horner Road lot. So it's just a continuation of monitoring ridership, making sure we're not providing services, again, that don't expend our budget at too high a rate. So that's an opportunity for us. Finally, we had a work stoppage on September 10th that caught us off guard as an organization. We woke up that morning to notification that employees had not reported to work. I think it's more appropriate that Russ Teescutter from First Transit address this issue more robustly, but I will say this. That morning, our key staff stepped forward, took over the dispatching functions. We immediately went into our emergency services plan. It was confusing, but immediately our staff was able to get a handle on the issue, operated our ESP throughout the day. Local services had limited impact. The following day, we also ran the ESP. Although it was a 1-day work stoppage, we still operated it. It wasn't a considerable inconvenience to customers and a disruption of service, but the staff responded extremely well. First Transit was in town. Their corporate staff arrived that night to address the issue and had meetings, but I'll let them talk about that issue comprehensively. And then in that process, talk about our bus operations transition. First Transit's time of service expires with us on October 31st, and we transfer to Keolis North America. And so Barbara Murdoch and Mike Gake from Keolis will talk about their transition. But we'll start off with Russ Teescutter with First Transit first. Russ?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I hope you all can hear me okay. Again, Madam Chair and members of the commission, my name is Russ Teescutter. I'm the Regional Vice President for First Transit. I first would like to begin by apologizing for this work stoppage to the customers and to the board for what had happened. I want to be clear, this was an unfortunate incident that was very unexpected. It was not tied to one single issue and was not supported by the national representatives from the union. And there was a lot of confusion, and hopefully some of these actions of the employees can be resolved with Keolis as Keolis takes over in the future. As Bob had mentioned, I came in that evening of the day that it happened. I met with employee representatives from the national and the local representatives of the union the following day, and they gave us a list of concerns. We took them seriously, and hopefully we cleared up some misinformation and any misunderstanding that was there. One concern that did stand out was the payout of their leave. We are going to follow all state and federal guidelines as far as this is concerned, and we will follow the CBA that we have and with the union. We have no intent of not paying the employees the proper amount of money that they are deserved. And we will continue to follow the CBA, any grievance process as we go forward. One thing I did reiterate to the union when we did sit down is that if there are issues, let's get them out in the open, call me directly. Let's use the processes that are outlined in our labor agreement. Next, I want to talk a little bit about the transition. We are continuing to work closely with our Keolis who's taking over. We will ensure that we will work with them to make sure it's a seamless transition. And we will continue to do that as we meet weekly with them to ensure that that happens. And finally, I'd like to just say thank you to all of the employees that we've been employed with for nearly 2 decades. These are some of the best employees that I have seen, and the amount of service that they've supported to this community has been outstanding. So I want to, my hat's off to them and all of their hard work, and the staff at PRTC. It's been an honor and a great partnership, and I want to thank the board, the staff, and the public for their support in working with First Transit. Thank you, and I'm available for any questions.
Ms. Murdoch.
Okay, and then, oh, there. Hi, Barbara, how are you? It's your turn.
Mike is going to speak first.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Bob. First of all, Chair Franklin and commission members, I appreciate the opportunity to spend just a couple of minutes talking about our transition and our progress. It's going extremely well, fortunately. But also, I'd like to introduce our leadership team, at least virtually. Due to the extended time frame of this procurement, we had to change out some of our proposed leadership team. So first of all, joining us on the call tonight is Barbara Murdoch, our general manager. She brings about 30 years of experience in transit. In working directly under her, Carolyn Narr, our assistant general manager, also brings about 30 years of experience in transit. Dana Long is our maintenance manager. He comes with 35 years of maintenance experience. Carla McHale is our human resource manager, also with 35 years of experience. Susan Plu, our safety manager, with, again, more than 30 years of experience in transit. Rodlin Conless is our finance manager with 10 years of experience. And finally, Christy Lockhart is our quality assurance manager, also with more than 30 years of experience. So I'm really excited to see what this highly diverse, talented, and experienced team can accomplish. We feel that they are representative both of the workforce they're going to lead and also the communities we serve. So I'm really excited about what they're going to accomplish for PRTC. And our plan has always been a seamless and painless transition, both for the employees and PRTC staff. Also for our customers and passengers. From their standpoint, we want them not to even realize a change has happened initially. That's how we know we're successful in a startup. And I've got to point out Russ and his team over at First Transit have been nothing but accommodating and professional in this transition. And having done this for 30 some odd years myself, it's a very difficult and challenging time for First Group. And their support and help through this process will make it much less painful for everybody involved. And again, Todd and the local team have been as professional and accommodating as well as they possibly can be, and we appreciate that. As you know, we'll inherit a majority of their current staff as well as the frontline employees, and we can't thank them enough for leaving us a fleet in very good shape, being good stewards of your assets, a highly trained workforce, and an inventory and various office equipment and supplies that we intend to purchase from them. Again, First Group has done everything in their power to make this transition as painless as possible, and we appreciate that. In this business, we trade off contracts from time to time, and from our perspective, Russ and Todd's shutdown and their success during that process is critical to our success and our startup. So again, I thank them for their long tenured service and what they've accomplished while they've held the contract. A couple of things that we've got lined up for the start of service. As I've mentioned before, employee engagement and culture change are critical to our success. We have started from day one of award with staff on site and over communication to make sure the employees know that this change will be good for them. And as part of that, our initial day of operation, we like to put on kind of a big deal. We'll have the entire senior executive team from our CEO, Elaine Franzen, our Vice President of Safety, our Vice President of Maintenance, our Vice President of Business Development, and myself on site the very first day of operation with Barbara's local team to welcome the very first bus out of the lot. And I invite any of the commission members that would like to come down, but I do warn you, it happens pretty early in the morning. We also try to have a luncheon event and a dinner event on the first day of operation. But again, any of Chair Franklin, you or any of the commission members are welcome at any time if you'd like to come down. But for a real update on the transition, I'd like to turn it over to our new general manager, Barbara Murdoch. Barbara.
Thanks, Mike, and good evening, commissioners. Again, Barbara Murdoch, and I'm proud to be joining the PRTC family. I feel like I'm coming home because I spent 20 years of my career in the Washington, D.C. area, and I've been on site at PRTC and OmniRide now for about 3 weeks, going through knowledge transfer and preparing for our November 1st kickoff. So where are we today in this process? We have completed 72% of our transition plan. We've signed an MOU with the union. I've met with the local union representatives and established pretty good rapport. We've signed offer letters for 167 operators. That is a full complement of drivers needed to start work on day one, November 1st. We have 22 of the maintenance staff with signed offer letters and 20 other staff members. We had about 100 employees go through our HR onboarding. That's as of today. We're scheduled our first training class this Saturday at the new Western facility. And all our managers, as Mike said, are on board, except for our IT manager, which we're recruiting for now. We have an exceptional team of managers for each of these work streams. And this will allow me to focus more on employee engagement. And that goal is to build trust and establish open and honest communication, especially with those on the front line of the organization. I've been a part of several mentoring programs, so I applaud the one that Cynthia and Bob talked about earlier, and Keolis will be committed to being a part of that. So what's next? We're finalizing training, doing background checks, drug testing, and transitioning from a startup plan to a readiness plan to make sure we are on track for the last month of this startup. Then we go into what we call our operational transformation plan. That is a 90-day program to introduce the staff to the Keolis way of operating. I'd like to thank the PRTC leadership team for their assistance with this startup and all the frontline drivers, mechanics, and staff for welcoming us so warmly. Thank you.
Excuse me. Thank you very much, Barbara. Appreciate your report, Madam Chair. That concludes my report. Unless there are questions for anybody.
Okay, and I'll turn it over now for questions. Just want us to be cognizant of the time. It is 8:10, so whatever comments and questions we have, let's try and keep it brief. Are there any comments or questions from Prince William County?
Yes, Madam Chair, Supervisor Bailey, please.
Supervisor Bailey.
Thank you. Just very quickly, just very encouraged by all of the positivity in this meeting and the level of professionalism and expertise during this transition. That's a step in the right direction. And so we really appreciate your robust and deliberation in making sure that everything runs smoothly. And so no stone is unturned. So thank you all that gave your reports tonight.
Anyone else from Prince William County? City of Manassas?
No questions.
Manassas Park? Fredericksburg?
No questions.
Spotsylvania?
No questions.
DRPT?
No questions.
House of Delegates? And the Virginia Senate? Okay, and I just want to say thank you both to First Transit and Keolis for working together on the transition. Obviously, we're in very challenging times economically, as well as what's going on with regards to our transportation systems here locally. So to Keolis, you have our full support in whatever you all need. Feel free to reach out to any one of the commission. I know Bob's going to continue to work closely with you all. So thank you for what you're doing into First Transit. Thank you for your commitment to Prince William County for all these years. All right. So now we will move into action item 11 to endorse the Potomac and Rappahannock Transportation Commission Public Transportation Safety Plan.
Yes, ma'am. Very straightforward. In 2017, 2018, FTA required the new adoption of what is just in the industry now called the PTASP. This is something that is required under the law to be completed. Our staff has gone through dedicated training, and the safety plan has been created in coordination with SMS, which is the safety management system, and it has been through conformity. So we are in compliance with that, but one of the steps is it does require the local governing boards to adopt these plans as a means of A, accountability that it got done, and B, your commitment to the safety and security of the organization. So we are requesting a motion for this item tonight.
Okay, and just a note, this is a new requirement from FTA, so it is something that we are required to do. So is there a motion to move into discussion?
So moved, Madam Chair. Kenny Bodie.
Moved by Supervisor Bodie and seconded by Supervisor Bailey. Are there any questions or comments from Prince William County? From Stafford County?
None.
City of Manassas?
No questions.
Manassas Park?
None.
Fredericksburg?
No questions.
Spotsylvania?
No questions.
House of Delegates?
Nope.
DRPT?
No questions.
and the Virginia Senate. Christine, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Andrea Bailey,
Aye.
Margaret Franklin,
Aye.
Kenny Bodie,
Aye.
Janine Lawson,
Aye.
Yesli Vega,
Aye.
Ann Wheeler,
Aye.
Cindy Shelton,
Aye.
Pam Sabeski,
Aye.
Jeanette Rischel,
Yes.
Matthew Kelly,
Aye.
Deborah Frazier,
Aye.
Gary Skinner,
Aye.
Todd Horsley,
Yes.
and Elizabeth Guzman.
Yes.
Madam Chair, that resolution is approved.
Okay, we'll now move into item 11.2 to authorize closed meeting of PRTC to discuss personnel matter concerning the executive director's performance evaluation and incentives. Is there a motion?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second,
Supervisor
Kenny
Bailey.
Bodie.
Moved by Supervisor Bailey. Is there a second?
Second from Jeanette Rischel.
Seconded by Mayor Rischel. Is there a discussion from Prince William County,
No discussion.
City of Manassas,
No discussion.
Manassas Park,
None.
Fredericksburg,
None.
Spotsylvania,
No questions.
DRPT,
No.
House of Delegates, and the Virginia Senate.
No.
Okay, Christine, will you please call the roll?
Andrea Bailey,
Yes.
Kenny Bodie,
Aye.
Margaret Franklin,
Aye.
Janine Lawson,
Aye.
Yesli Vega,
Aye.
Ann Wheeler,
Aye.
Cindy Shelton,
Aye.
Pam Sabeski,
Aye.
Jeanette Rischel,
Yes.
Matthew Kelly,
Aye.
Deborah Frazier,
Aye.
Gary Skinner,
Aye.
Todd Horsley,
Yes.
Elizabeth Guzman.
Yes.
Madam Chair, that resolution is approved.
Okay, and the way I would like to do this is we'll go into closed session, the commissioners. I'll kind of go over the topic, and then perhaps we can bring Mr. Schneider in after we have our discussion to go over the particular matter. Sharon, is that okay to do?
Madam Chair, that would be fine as long as the technology can be done.
Okay, and Carl and crew, I will turn it over to you now for next steps.
Okay, so I'll just be entering everyone in. Somebody may need to come out and tell me to add Bob in or somehow communicate this to Christine.
Madam Chair, if you want to send me a text message asking for Dr. Schneider to be added into the meeting, into the closed meeting, then I will relay that to our tech team.
I can do that. Thank you.
All right. We are going to pause the recording now and move you into the breakout session.
Sharon Pandek is an also, correct?
That's correct.
And Madam Chair, I've had a question. Do you want Becky Mariner in the meeting as well?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Have I captured everybody?
I still see Sharon Pandak here.
I should be in the meeting.
I think you're getting there individually.
And Mr. Kelly as well.
I think they have to join. You have to look at your screen and join.
All right.
Gary Skinner, you need to join.
Carl, was the issue that they weren't clicking join?
Correct.
Okay.
Now, Doris, we've included, I don't need to pause the recording. They're not being recorded.
Right.
Yes, okay. Okay, it's everybody as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Carl, this is Becky. I haven't been added to the
sorry.
meeting and I don't see my.
Yes, ma'am, I got you right here.
Sorry, Becky.
Becky's in.
Okay, everybody's in. Christine, if you want to send her that text.
I did just send it as soon
Okay.
as I saw Becky disappear.
Okay.
And she replied, great. So she got the text.
Good stuff. I'll take one. Yeah, whatever you want. We'll go
Carl, they want Bob in the closed meeting now.
Hey, Christine, is there any way to let me back in?
Doris or Carl, do you know how Supervisor Lawson gets back into the breakout room? And
If not, it's no big deal. I'll just wait.
it looks like Commissioner Benny Smith also
Oh, hang on.
is out of the meeting.
I just got an invitation.
We'll see you on the flip side.
Does Benny Smith need to get back in?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought somebody came to the person he was replacing came in.
But he's still a commissioner.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
We're ready to come back from closed session.
Wonderful.
It should be everyone's out.
Madam Chair, I believe you have, you need a motion to certify that you only discuss those matters for which you went into closed meeting.
Yes, may I have a motion for 11.3?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Supervisor Bodie. Is there a second?
Second, Matt Kelly.
Seconded by Matt Kelly. Discussion from Prince William County,
None?
City of Manassas,
Been fine.
Manassas Park,
No questions.
Fredericksburg,
No questions.
Spotsylvania,
No questions.
General Assembly, and Senate. Christine, will you please call the roll?
Andrea Bailey,
Yes.
Kenny Bodie,
Aye.
Margaret Franklin,
Aye.
Janine Lawson,
Aye.
Yesli Vega. I didn't hear a response from Yesli Vega.
I think she actually messaged me that she had to leave the meeting.
And Ann Wheeler,
Aye.
Christine, I can't hear you.
Can't hear
Yeah,
you.
we've lost volume. We've lost hearing people.
Yeah. Yeah, Christine, we can't hear you. No. I think Vega was the last one we heard.
So you didn't hear me say aye?
We can hear you, Ms. Wheeler.
everyone until Yesli Vega. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Yes, there we go.
Okay. I'm going to start over just to verify that everyone heard me. So this is on the motion to certify the closed meeting. Andrea Bailey.
Aye.
Kenny Bodie.
Aye.
Margaret Franklin.
Aye.
Janine Lawson.
Aye.
Yesli Vega. Ann Wheeler.
Aye.
And Benny Smith. Okay.
Aye.
I'm sorry, was that Benny Smith?
Yes.
Thank you. Cindy Shelton.
Aye.
Pam Sabeski.
Aye.
Jeanette Rischel.
Yes.
Matthew Kelly.
Aye.
Deborah Frazier.
Aye.
Gary Skinner.
Aye.
Todd Horsley.
Yes.
Elizabeth Guzman. Is Delegate Guzman still here?
I believe she had to leave as well.
Okay, Madam Chair, that resolution is approved.
Okay, the next item is chair's time. I just want to mention, Dr. Schneider has already said that PRTC won the Gold Standard Safety Award. So just wanted to again thank PRTC and the work they've done. I think it's the first bus transportation system in this region that has won. So very big deal for us. We had a very good award ceremony last week with regards to this. So thank you, Bob, and your team for their efforts in this. And that is all I have.
Madam Chair, if I might, I do apologize. I think if it's appropriate for the board that you could take up out of closed meeting, the executive director's incentive measures. And
Oh, that is correct. I'm sorry. I guess I thought that's what the certification. So is there, I guess we would need a motion to do
Madam
that.
Chair.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Supervisor Lawson.
Thank you. I move for approval the incentive measures that were discussed in the closed session for the executive director. And Ms. Pandak, do I need to state exactly what those are?
No, I believe there are copies that are available. Am I correct? I think Ms. Mariner has copies. Dr. Snyder has copies. We'll make available publicly.
Thank you. Move for approval.
Second.
Supervisor Bailey.
Moved by Supervisor Lawson, seconded by Supervisor Bailey. Is there discussion from Prince William County? City of Manassas?
No.
Manassas Park?
None.
Fredericksburg?
No questions.
Stafford County?
None.
Spotsylvania?
No questions.
PRPT?
No.
House of Delegates and the Virginia Senate. Christine, please call the roll.
Andrea Bailey.
Aye.
Kenny Bodie.
Aye.
Margaret Franklin.
Aye.
Janine Lawson.
Aye.
Ann Wheeler.
Aye.
Benny Smith. Was that a yes from Benny Smith?
Yes.
Thank you. Cindy Shelton.
Yes.
Pam Sabeski.
Yes.
Jeanette Rischel.
Yes.
Matthew Kelly,
Yes.
Deborah Frazier,
Yes.
Gary Skinner,
Yes.
Todd Horsley.
Yes.
Madam Chair, that resolution is approved.
Okay, and thank you, Ms. Pandak, for that correction. And I don't think I need to do chair's time again, but we will move into item 13. Christine, if you'll just call the roll, and if anyone has any comments, we'll do that. And if you don't, you can just say pass. So Christine, I'll turn it over to you.
Right, Andrea Bailey,
No comment.
Kenny Bodie,
No comment.
Janine Lawson,
Pass.
Ann Wheeler,
No comment.
Benny Smith,
Pass.
Cindy Shelton,
Pass.
Pam Sabeski,
Pass.
Jeanette Rischel,
Pass.
Matt Kelly,
Pass.
Deborah Frazier,
Just want to thank our chair for running an efficient meeting. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Gary Skinner,
Pass.
Todd Horsley.
Yes, I have one brief announcement. DRPT has initiated the Springfield to Quantico Enhanced Public Transportation Feasibility Study. This is a study that was directed by the General Assembly in the 2020 General Session, and we owe a study report to the General Session by December 2021. So this will, so we have reached out to Bob and to Rick Canizales at Prince William County to appoint members to our technical committee. We'll get that kicked off this year or this month actually. And like I said, we'll have a report ready for the General Assembly next December. And we look forward to updating the commission a couple of times during the year.
Madam Chair, that concludes the commissioner's time.
Okay, and I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Pam Sabeski.
Second.
All right, without objection.
Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Good night, all.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the great meeting.
Thank you.